गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन, गुड इवनिंग, जय हिंद। कैसे हैं आप सभी लोग? गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन, गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू खान ग्लोबल स्टडीज। आई होप all of you are doing well. Long time. I think last day we have met on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday I could not take your session, but today we are back here, the session. Good evening everyone. So how is your preparation going on? How is your preparation and everything going on? Good evening, good afternoon. Okay. So the topics which we are going to discuss in today's session, like today in the newspaper there are few topics only. So we will be discussing about this one topic, Global South. Generally what we see that on Monday now we are not getting that much of topic. Generally from Tuesday to Friday we get topics, but generally on Monday there is now like no such important topics generally on Monday. So we are going to discuss these three topics. One is Global South, one is about the AstroSat, and third is about states' fiscal health. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss, and we will also see some of the practice questions as well. These are the topics which we are going to discuss today. Okay, supercomputer, we will discuss it first. Like today itself, we will first discuss about supercomputer, and then we will discuss about these topics. Okay. Moderate to well. Okay. Now we have to now the festival season is also going on, so you should use that energy now. You should use that energies of festivities. You can use that energy to enhance your study. So let's start first with some questions, and then we will come to the supercomputer. So here we have the first question. Consider the following pairs: COP29, establishment of loss and damage fund; COP27, updation of the NDC target; and COP26, global methane pledge. So how many pairs are correctly matched here? The question is asking how many pairs are correctly matched. So here we have the first one, COP29, establishment of loss and damage fund. Second is saying updation of the NDC targets by countries. Third is saying global methane pledge. Good evening. A option. A option is only one. I think most of the people are going for option number A only. So here we have the COP29, establishment of loss and damage fund. That is incorrect. You may have seen it was COP27 actually, which was responsible for this establishment of loss and damage fund. Then COP26 was not for the updation of NDC target. It was done in COP26 itself. And here we have COP26, which was related to global methane pledge. So third one is correct. First and second are incorrect. So that's why we will see the answer here is option number A, that is only one. Here the answer is option number A, that is only one. Second is saying, with reference to fusion energy, consider the following statement. Fusion energy is environmentally sustainable because of no emissions. India's first fusion energy power plant is going to be operationalized by 2030. So here we are having two parts here. The first portion is saying, that fusion energy is environmentally sustainable because of no emissions. Second is saying that India's first fusion energy power plant is going to be operationalized by 2030. So what will be the correct answer here? This year 2025 I made approx 46 question correct and approx 25 questions correct. I have made 25 questions incorrect from current affairs. Okay, don't worry about it. We generally talk here about current affairs on regular basis, and you will find that we are having questions on almost same pattern as UPSC. So if you are solving questions from here regularly, you will find improvement in your questions. So what will be the answer? A option. Here if we look at this, fusion energy is environmentally sustainable because of no emission. This part is correct. Okay. This one part is correct. Second is saying India's first fusion energy power plant is going to be operationalized by 2030. This is incorrect. This is highly unlikely. So here the answer will be option number A only. Okay. That is only one. Second is saying, consider the following statements. Optical computing can be substitute for the normal computing in the present times. Second is saying, optical computing is using qubit value for computing and parallel operations. So which of the statements given above are correct? I am fine. I hope all of you are also doing well. Evening. So what will be correct here? D option. Prince is saying option number D. How to select relevant topic? We will talk about this. Like generally, if you see the current affairs sessions also, you will find that we are taking only those topics which are relevant for prelim. And this is what I keep on saying, that instead of taking multiple topics, we should focus on only some topics which are highly relevant for exam. So wait for it. I think you are new here. So once you do it for some days, 1 week, 2 weeks, you will generally get the idea what topics you have to pick. D option. Okay. So see, optical computing can substitute for the normal computing in present times. This one is incorrect. It is not possible. It is not using qubit value, rather than it is based on bits only. It is based on bits only. It is just using the photons. It is just using the photons instead of electrons. So here we are not using the quantum value. We are just using the same thing. We are using the same simple computer only, but we are using we are not using electron. Instead of that, we are using photon. So that's why optical computing, both these statements will be incorrect. The answer will be option number D. That is neither one nor two. Now, coming to the third part, coming to one important information. So we are having this one mock test for UPPSC prelims examination. You know that UPSC prelims examination is going to be conducted very soon. So we are having this open mock test, which is going to be offline as well as online. Okay. And it is going to be in bilingual mode, English plus Hindi. So test date is 5th of October. It is going to be there in Karol Bagh, Mukherjee Nagar, Prayagraj, Dehradun. Okay. So at offline, these are the centers, plus it is online also. So on this 5th of October, on 5th of October means the coming Sunday, we are going to have this examination, this mock test. So you can prepare for this, you can give this exam. Here GS and CSAT, both will be covered for UPPCS. So this is one mock test open for everyone. So yesterday's match, no, actually I'm not watching the match these days. Normally, like if I get the time, then I watch match. But these days it has been quite much hectic. From the last 1 week has been quite much. So from there you can understand that I am not having the time to watch the match also. That is one part. I am not getting that much time. Now, coming to today's topic, the first topic which we are going to talk about is the concept of global south. We are going to talk about this concept of global south. This is one topic, like you can see India signals realignment with global south and adopts assertive line on Gaza. So there are many things. Okay. I will come to that. See, what's your name? Most of the compilation, they take 6 to 7 topics daily, 150 topics monthly. So for that one part itself, just see this one thing. We are having around 3 to 4 topics on daily basis, some for prelims, some for main. Overall on monthly basis, you get 56 topics. So that is something which you can directly revise for the prelims. So here when we are having current affairs 20 days a month, so we are covering only those topics which are highly relevant for exam. Like today also we are covering only 3 topics. Normally people will say that why only 3 topics? But here we are discussing it, that here we are discussing this just because like these are the relevant ones. The other are having not so relevance for the exam. So here in our classes, we are just trying to see this one relevant topics only. Last part of match, no. UNGA between India and Pakistan. Yes, that is one news which I have seen. I have seen that news, but not this part. So first of all, let us talk about this one concept. What actually is global south? Let us talk about this. What actually is global south? Now, global south is not only a geographical concept. It is not only a geographical concept. This is not a geographical concept as such. It is not a geographical concept. Rather, what you will see that this is something which is a geopolitical concept. This is something which is a geopolitical concept. Like what we see here, this is an association of developing, or this is a representation of developing and underdeveloped nations which are mostly belonging to the southern hemisphere. So this is basically the countries. It is basically the countries which are developing, countries which are developing or underdeveloped. And what we see that most countries are in southern hemisphere. That most of these countries are also there in southern hemisphere. So that is also one thing which we see, that most of these countries are in southern hemisphere. So that is one part. First thing which we see, that this is not a geographical concept. It is a geopolitical concept. It refers to those countries which are either developing or underdeveloped. And most of these nations, they are there in the global southern hemisphere. So that's why the name is like global south. Now understand here this one thing, context. The context is with respect to US tariff war. US has started a tariff war, and this tariff war is taking a toll on every country, and particularly the focus has been now towards India. Like they are having the special focus now towards India. So this is one thing which we see here. They are having a special focus now on India. First, we have seen that there is like 50% tariff. First, there was 50% tariff. Then there was sanctions on Chabahar. Port. Then we have seen the tariff on pharma products. tariff on pharma products. Then we have seen H1B visa. H1B visa. So what we see that there are so many things going on in US policy which are going against India now. They are going against India now. They have started just with this tariff war. There was 50% tariff. Then there was the sanctions on Chabahar port. Then we have the tariff on pharma products, H1B visa and everything. So we see that a number of things are going on. And what has been the impact? What has been the impact? That there is a realignment. Now we can say this, that there is a realignment in India's policy. Realignment in India's policy. We can see one thing. In the last 2 to 3 months, from June 2025 to the present times of September 2025, just look at the timeline. From June 25 to September 25. During this timeline, you will find that there has been multiple visits by Indian Prime Minister to smaller countries of Africa and other regions. Okay. So, visit by PM to developing and underdeveloped nations. Now we again see this one thing. There is again this one part that there is like increased focus. There is increased focus on regional groups. Like IBSA. Increased focus on regional groups like IBSA. Then we have this BRICS. Then we have SCO and others. So we see that there has been more and more focus on these groups. There has been more and more focus on these groups rather than the multilateral institutions. So this is also one of the changing. Like you will find that like in this June to September month, around 15, you will find that around 15 such visits have been there. More than 15 plus visits have been there to smaller countries. 15 plus visits have been there to smaller countries, to the developing and underdeveloped nations. We are having like meetings with BRICS, with SCO, FIPIC, L69 and all others. Then we see that policy on Gaza. Human rights violation. Like now we have changed our stand. There is a very much strong statement by India with respect to the Gaza violence. That the human rights violations which are going in Gaza. Now India is actively voting in favor of stopping those violations. India is voting against Israel. So India is going against Israel. In fact, India and other countries at SCO, they have openly criticized. There has been an open criticism of US and Israel with respect to the attacks on Iran. So we see that there has been criticism. There has been a criticism of US and Israel. With respect to attacks on Iran. We have the SCO summit as the example. And you can see that now there is statements from Indian External Affairs Minister. Our External Affairs Minister is saying that we are going towards more multilateralism. You can see like we are having more and more engagement towards this like global south. So this is one thing which is going on. India have changed its policy with respect to US. Earlier what we saw that with respect to US, it was seen more of like a temporary thing. The tariff was seen more of a temporary things. It was believed that maybe in a few months, in a few weeks, there will be a change in policy in US. From the backdoor negotiations and all, there will be a change in policy, but it didn't materialize. So now we are changing our policy altogether. We are changing our alignment. Now US and India relations are on a downward curve. Now we can say this officially also that US and India relations are towards a downward curve now. It is going back to the era of 90s. It is going back to the era of 90s. So see, there has been an effort for more than 20-25 years for having a good relations with US, or even the US presidents trying to have a good relations with India. But in the current administration of US, everything had changed. So this is one thing which we can see here. So this is one part, like what is the global south issue going on, what is the context here, and what is the change in India's policy. Now I am giving you one mains question also. Now I am giving you this one mains question, and although we have not discussed about it, I think you know a lot of it, so you can answer this. Okay. So what you have to write, like the question is this: highlight, just analyze the significance. Analyze the significance of realignment in India's policy. Realignment in India's policy towards global south. Towards global south in context of current global geopolitics. Current global geopolitics. So this is one question. Analyze the significance of realignment in India's policy towards global south in context of current global geopolitics. So this is one question of 250 words. This is one question which you can answer in 250 words. You can try to answer this. Okay. So I hope everyone can answer. This is one question. We are going to discuss the answer of this tomorrow. You have to write this question. So can I expect from all of you that you will be writing this one? So I will not be asking again. You have to write the answer. I will not be asking the question again. Okay. So this week we will try to write at least 5 answers. At least 4 to 5 answers in this week. So every day I will be giving you some questions. You can try to practice it. Okay. Now coming to the second topic. Second topic will be supercomputers. Okay. First we are going to look into this. Supercomputers. So we are going to talk about this one term, that what exactly is supercomputer and how they are different from the classical computers. Now suppose that when we are talking about supercomputer, what they are known for? Like they are known for fast operations. They are known for fast or super fast operations. They are known for the super fast operations. Now, how much super fast operations? Like there is normal PC also, normal laptops also. So even our normal laptops, they have billions of floating operations per second. There is one thing, calculation of a speed. This is something which is done in flops, floating operations per second. Floating operations per second. So even a normal computer, even our normal PC, normal laptop, they are having like a billion flops. They are having a speed of a billion flops. Okay. So can you tell me some of the supercomputers, what is their speed? What is their speed? What is the speed of supercomputers in flops? Any idea? Yes, supercomputer works in floating point operations per second. Okay, Bharat, I will see that and I will try to include that. Okay, I will try to include that. So if we look at this flops can be even in 1 trillion. It can even be in 1 trillion flops. It can even be 1 trillion flops. A normal supercomputer, a normal computer can have millions and sometimes billion of flops. This supercomputer can have 1 billion flops. So this can be the speed of supercomputer. 1 billion flops, floating point operations per second. It can go up to 10 to the power 18 flops also. So that is the speed of supercomputer. It is known for very high speed. And how does it achieve it? Yes, exaflops also, it can go up to exaflops also. Now what we see that, like how does it achieve? Like what is the source of speed? What is the source of speed? How do they get this speed? They are known for their speed, but how do they actually get this speed? In our laptop, when we are having higher RAM, higher quality of SSD, if we are having better SSD, if we are having higher capacity of RAM, then we are having higher speed. But what about supercomputer? Are they having higher RAM? The answer is no. Okay. They are basically having parallel computing. What we see that thousands of systems work together simultaneously. Thousands of systems work together simultaneously. So this is one thing which we see here, that it is not like they are having, it's not like they are having just like what we can say, one supercomputer or one computer which is highly powerful. No, there are multiple systems which are working simultaneously. They are working simultaneously and they are solving multiple parts of a question. Okay. For example, let's say we are talking about an example that x plus y plus z x into y plus z into y up to n times. So one computer is solving this problem, second computer is solving this problem, third computer is solving this problem, and like this. So multiple processors are working on the same thing simultaneously. They are not solving the entire problem at once. all the different processors which are there, they are solving it part by part. If there are 1000 system, the equation or the problem or the thing which we have to compute, it is divided into 1000 parts, and each and every system is working on its own part. So the computer will be able to manage to perform all these tasks simultaneously. So this is one thing which we achieve here in case of supercomputer. I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear. So it is not even like there is one such laptop or one such system and there is one keyboard or mouse you are clicking and you are getting the result. It's not like that. Okay. What we see here that in this case of supercomputer, we are having multiple things simultaneously. Like there is one system which is dividing the work into computer. There is one system which is dividing the work among the processors. So that is one thing which we see here in case of supercomputers. Now we are coming to the next topic, astrosat. So there is this one thing called as astrosat. It is India's first space observatory. In 2015, when this was launched, there was a question even in mains exam as well as prelims exam from here. So here we see that like in 2015, we see that this was launched September 28. And then we see that there has been question about this in prelims also, and even in mains exam we were having questions with respect to astrosat. So this was one of the very famous missions of India, like Mangalyaan, like Chandrayaan. So this was also a very famous mission of India. This astrosat, it is like first dedicated space observatory, space astronomy observatory. Means this is an observatory. This is an observatory in the space for astronomical observation. So it is especially for astronomical observations. This is especially for astronomical observation. Now, can you tell me this one thing? Like, why do we need a observatory in the space? Why we cannot do it from the ground? Why do we need it in the space only? Why not we can do it from the ground itself? What is the necessity? Why do we need to go up in the space? Why do we need to go up in the space? Study of space, cover large area. Earth atmosphere block much of the universe. See, there is one thing. When we are talking about this, why a space-based observatory? Why we need to have a space-based observatory? What we see that in the case of Earth, why we need to have a space-based observatory? Because the electromagnetic radiation, when it enters the atmosphere, then what we see that it faces distortion. This is something, it faces distortion. It is facing the distortion. Means we are not able to observe the things clearly as we can see from the space. When the electromagnetic radiation is entering into the earth atmosphere, it faces distortion, and due to that distortion, we will not be able to see the things properly. And hence we need to have the space-based observatory. So we have got our astrosat. It is having one section called as LAX-PC. This is called as large area X-ray proportional counter, and what it does, it studies X-ray from binary stars. Then we have this one thing, UVIT. This is also one component. It can observe space, can observe sky in visible plus ultraviolet radiation. So it can observe the sky in visible as well as ultraviolet radiation. So that is one thing which is UVIT. Okay. Then we see that there is also SXT. This is soft X-ray telescope. Okay. This is going to see the X-ray coming from distant object. X-ray coming from distant objects. The distant objects which are there. So it is going to study the X-ray coming from distant object, that is soft X-ray telescope. Okay. Then we have SSM. SSM stands for Scanning Sky Monitor. Okay. And it is going to do long-term monitoring of X-ray in binary stars. So this is going to study the X-ray sources, like what are the sources from which X-ray is coming. There are certain sources which are quite bright for some time, then they become dim. So it will try to understand all these things. Okay. And like apart from this, you will find that it is trying to also observation about dark matter. That is also one of the aim of this astrosat observatory. So this is India's first X-ray observatory, astronomic observatory. Okay. And it has been there for some time now. 10 years has been completed. So this is India's first observatory. And there is a question from time to time that this is something which is really substantial. So why we are not having more and more observatories? Like what we see that we are having plans for Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan. These are quite popular things. But on the other hand, astrosat is for much more important tasks. But it is not so much popular. It is quite useful but not so much popular. There are many things which are quite useful and not popular. So one of them is astrosat also. That it is quite useful but still not so much popular. It is not that much viral. That is one thing which we see here in case of AstroSat also. Continuous and uninterrupted observation. So I hope that is clear. What is AstroSat? What is the aim of it? Like, it has observed many things. It has observed some of the bright galaxies, ultraviolet bright galaxies. It has done observation of many of the parts of the sky. So that is the role of AstroSat. 10 years has been completed. Although not very important, but still in some exams you can get questions on. सोचेस तो नासा कर रहे हैं. देखो, there is one thing like Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan and everything. This is quite popular, but at the same time need to invest the resources at the right place sometimes. So AstroSat by far is very important task, like very important mission of. Now we are coming to this one last topic, states macro fiscal health. I think you know the context. Article 293, we have discussed it last week also. Yes, high cost, technological complexity, long developmental time. I know these are the times. But the thing is, it is also about priorities. Normally, there are certain things which are liked by people. And when things are liked by people, they get the priority too. This is one part. Now coming to this one section, states macro fiscal health. What is the context? I think you all know this. Like we have this article 293. This article provides for borrowing by union or states, by union or the states. Now what we see that in the case of states, there is terms and conditions apply. Terms and condition apply. We have seen Kerala. This has given a request of what? 0.5% additional borrowing due to GST and tariff. Due to GST and tariff. Now GST has a separate story. If you look at this, GST has a separate story. Like it is generally said that state government say that they are losing because of GST. Union government says that they have to pay compensation, so they are also losing. The businessman say that there is some of the goods are at higher tax, some at the lower slab. There is confusion there also. Consumers are always saying that there is higher GST on each and every product. We have to pay more and more. So almost everyone is not so much happy with the tax system. Like government is not happy, businessman is not happy, people are not happy. So who is actually happy with the GST? At least government should be happy that they are getting the money. So that will be sufficient. This much is sufficient. No need to read anything else. Now coming to this one portion. So here there is a data about how much the states are borrowing. We are not going to see all the data, just a few. We see Andhra Pradesh, if we look at this, their borrowing, just compare this, 2016, how much they have got public debt receipt. Like it was around 59,000 crore. Now it is 1,86,000 crore. In case of Arunachal Pradesh, it is still like it had just doubled. It had just doubled but their borrowing is quite a small, 1000 only. Just let me show you one part, the states with maximum borrowing. There is one state, Jammu and Kashmir. Here the debt to GDP ratio is 51%. The debt to GDP ratio of Jammu and Kashmir is 51%. Nagaland, if we look at this one, Nagaland has a debt to ratio of 47.8%. When you look at Arunachal Pradesh, it is also 45.9%. When you look at Punjab, 44.5%. If you look at Bihar, 37%. Their fiscal deficit right now is 5.6%. In case of Arunachal Pradesh, it is 8.9%. In Punjab also it is 3.8%. Sikkim it is 5.8%. Now look at this. They are some special category states. Like if you look at them, they are more vulnerable. They are more vulnerable. Himachal Pradesh is also vulnerable. Mizoram is also there. Sikkim is also there. But in other states also, like suppose when we are talking about West Bengal, Punjab, Bihar, there also you see that their debt to GDP ratio is quite higher. Their debt to GDP ratio is quite higher. Punjab, West Bengal, then we have Bihar. They are the states known for high debt to GDP ratio. Even their fiscal deficit, like take Bengal, West Bengal is having 3.6%. Okay. Punjab is having 3.8%. Then Bihar is also having 3%. So although Bihar's fiscal deficit is in control in recent times, but debt to GDP ratio is 37%. And in case of vulnerable states, it is quite higher, on the like more about 40% plus. So this is the profile, top 10 Indian states by debt to GDP ratio. These are the states where the debt to GDP ratio is quite on the higher side. Means they have taken huge amount of loans. They have done huge amount of borrowings. And when borrowings are more, then it is challenging for the entire state. Okay. How the borrowing is problematic? Suppose there is more borrowing. So it means this is going to be followed by more interest payment. More interest payment. When there is more interest payment, then there is less capital expenditure. Less capital expenditure. So this is going to hamper. This is something which is going to hamper developmental work. So if you look at this, this is having that vicious cycle. When you are having more borrowing, you have to pay more interest. It means next year there is going to be lesser capital expenditure. It means there is going to be a hamper towards the developmental work. So this is one part what we see, that the fiscal status of many of the states in India are quite on the poor side. And this is a matter of concern. This is a matter of concern. Overall also, if you look at union level also, it is quite on the higher side. You see that it is going up to 4%, 5%. It is generally up like that. And in this case also, you will find one thing, that like say for example, take the example of Bihar. So right now what we see, that in Bihar, we are having a number of welfare schemes. We are having a number of welfare schemes which is having more of a nature of freebies. There is more of a freebies which are being offered to the people. So a state which is already there in the debt, a state which is already there in huge debt, how much freebies it can afford? In Himalayan states and other states, still there is a reason why they are having higher level of debt. But what is the case in Bihar? it is a plain area. So this is one thing which we see here. States macro fiscal health, like you can just keep this one thing in mind. What is the constitutional provision? So Article 293A, okay. Article 293.2 and 293. So this is one thing which you have to keep in mind, that states, they can borrow on the security of consolidated fund. Like they can give guarantee within India on security of its consolidated fund, and if they have taken loan from central government, then there is a restriction on amount of loan which they can take from India or from within India. So this is one part which we have to discuss in today's session. First, we have discussed about this portion of Global South. Second thing which we have discussed is about supercomputer. Third thing was about astrosat, and fourth thing, it was with respect to this fiscal health of the states. So today there were not so many articles, okay, but we have discussed some of them. Now there is one thing which Bharat has told me about some agriculture technique which was there in current affairs last day. I will cover that in this week itself. And if anything else has remained, like there was one topic on Thursday that was with respect to Global South. Today we have discussed Global South also. That one part of Thursday which we could not discuss last Thursday, I am discussing that. If any other topic is there, we will discuss that also. हाँ, current की class daily होती है at the same time. So thank you so much. मैंने आपको एक क्वेश्चन दिया है. Try to write that. Try to write this portion. Analyze the significance of realignment in India's policy towards Global South in context of current global geopolitics. So write the answer of it. Indigenous bioformulation, I will see that and then I will discuss that. So thank you so much everyone. Take care and all the best. Thank you.